Today we're talking about bathrooms, and of course that's going to mean some tile in your bathroom. Amy Troute from Amy Troute Inspired Interior Design is here. We're at United Tile, which is a beautiful showroom, beautiful place to be if you're going to talk about tile. All right, let's start with not necessarily do's and don'ts, but with just guidelines on where do you start?
Where do you start? I think when people think bathrooms, they think tile, and somewhere that kind of people get hung up on is, do I want porcelain or do I want natural stone, or is it going to be colorful, is it going to be neutral? And I think one of the best places to start, in my opinion, with bathrooms is the countertop. It's the kind of the focal point of the room. If you have a countertop that's going to be really solid color and very neutral, then you can really have fun with other tiles, colorful tiles on a backsplash or an interesting tile configuration on the floor. If your countertop is a granite, maybe that has a lot of movement and a lot of color in it, that actually gives you a great spot to pull color from. So if you've got a busy countertop, then think about maybe having a little bit calmer backsplash. You need to consider every color that's coming into the space. What's your cabinet like? Is it a knotty alder that has a lot of visible graining and it's going to be kind of busy? Is it a painted surface or a very solid stained surface? And you need to find that balance, I think, between active pattern and kind of calmer places for your eye to rest.
So it's not like you just come in and say, oh, I love that tile.
Right. Well, if you love that tile, then that's where we start.
Then that's where you start.
Right.
Gotcha. But usually people have somewhere to start. They have some jumping off point, especially if they're doing a remodel.
Absolutely. So I recently finished a bathroom that we were keeping the vanity cabinetry.
Okay.
So that was our place to start. The client wanted a natural stone. We ended up going with a seagrass limestone, which is a beautiful stone that's got fossilization in it. It's got a lot of color from greens to grays to browns, all very neutral. So it might seem kind of boring to have that be the focal point of the room. What we did in that space was take this tile and cut it into different shapes and sizes and configurations, whether it was on the floor, the bathtub surround, the shower walls. We brought in a mosaic that incorporated another piece of marble that just added just a little punctuation of color. The space then just became all about the awe factor. It was very relaxing.
The same tile, but just doing it in a design pattern in certain areas.
Exactly. It wasn't boring because we still had a little bit of interaction with different shapes and sizes. The paint color was easy at that point to say, you know, let's keep it all very kind of monochromatic. We could have gone dark on the walls and kept the stone a little bit lighter. Lots of options there.
So you've got your countertops figured out. Then you start with your floor tile, your backsplash, maybe your shower tile as well?
Absolutely. So once all of those elements come together, I think a lot of people, you know, it's kind of typical to do a backsplash in an accent tile and maybe take that accent tile into the shower walls.
Right.
And it depends on how far you want to go with personality in the space. If you're thinking about resale, it's nice to keep those surfaces very neutral and simple and clean, and then add your splash of color with area rugs and artwork and fun things like that. And
tile really is fun. There's so much you can do with it.
Absolutely.
It just seems like it's really come a long way, including grout color. It's so important, but it's not just all that cement color anymore. You can do so many things like these.
You can go so wrong with grout color. I mean, if you think about all the colors, just in this seagrass, for example, you need to think about how the grout is going to act as in the overall space. I like to have all the tile installed and come in and then kind of, you know, see where you're going to be with grout color.
And that depends on the lighting of the room as well, right?
Exactly. If you can have all the tile installed and all the lighting in, and then pick your paint color and grout color, you can't make a mistake.
That makes a lot of sense. But just so that you know, there are all different colors of grout color, right?
Absolutely.
Just as many as there are tile.
Yes.
All right. Now, what would be the last step? Is there a final step?
So it's not all about tile, it's about fixtures and finishes. And once you have your tile selection, then you can select your tub and your sinks and your lighting and the jewelry of the room, which is your faucets and your pulls and all of that. One additional tip is when you think about your faucets and your drawer pulls and your lighting, I like to keep that finish consistent. So if everything is brushed nickel or if everything is oil rubbed bronze, it just kind of helps to give a little bit of consistency to the space.
That makes a lot of sense. And then if you really just still are confused or have a lot of questions, you call Amy.
Yeah.
That's what you do.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for your time, Amy.
Thank you.